Hello, Nerd Circuit crew. Welcome back to another episode of Nerdtastic Guides. Look, I know I said I would be doing the characters from Victoria Housekeeping, but I'm a himbo and I forgot to finish building Corn and Rena. So in this episode, I'll be doing a guide on another Thyran I've built. Zenless Zone Zero's sultry, sledgehammer-wielding sensation, Yidhari Murphy of the Spook Shack. With a tragic backstory, a new offensive class, and a relatively simple gameplay loop, will this oblivious Octomommy be a help or hindrance to your account? Let's find out. This is Yidhari's Nerdtastic Guide. Okay, so, going off what I said in my last guide video, Yidhari is an example of a humanoid Thyran with an animal feature, her numerous octopus tails. And as development goes on, I'm really hoping we get a variety of Thyrans. Like Lucy is a goat, Minato is a wolf, and Yidhari is an octopus. So I'm hoping personally we get a playable bird and dragon Thyran, but that's not here nor there. While Yidhari's tentacles might be the first thing you notice, they are definitely not what keeps your attention. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yidhari was made for the Gooners. From her figure, to her voice direction, to her clothes, she was made to attract a particular audience. And that's okay. I mean, that's a lot of characters in this game, and my point still stands. Now that being said, these are not the only aspects of her character worth mentioning. For example, despite being so skinny, the way she wields her sledgehammer shows her immense strength. And her eyes are distinct from any other character in Zenless Zone Zero and might be a reference to how an octopus can camouflage with its background, but don't quote me on that. And lastly, we have the stickers on her tentacles. Well, I assume they're stickers because if they're tattoos, I feel they'd be a bit more faded. But they do a lot to give Yidhari a lot more personality despite her looks. And with that being said, her looks aren't the only aspect of her personality. There's also her story. So Yidhari Murphy was born to Angel and Waylon Murphy, both ether scientists working at a TOPS facility off the coast of Port Elpis. She was cared for by Grandpa Goo and was a relatively healthy child. After having enough of working for a shady corporation, Angel and Waylon decided that their last day at this facility would be Yidhari's birthday. However, this is Zenless Zone Zero, so on that day, the old capital fell and the outer ring hollow expanded and consumed the facility while Yidhari was visiting her parents. Unfortunately, Yidhari had inhaled ether particles and the process of becoming ethereal had already begun. While trapped, Waylon would map out an escape route for his wife and daughter, but would die, and Yidhari would stabilize her daughter via an experimental serum and try to guide her through the hollow. And again, this is Zenless Zone Zero, so neither of her parents survived, and Yidhari would wind out outside of the hollow and eventually be rescued by Pompeii and Mars. She was returned to Grandpa Goo, but would repress the memories of this harrowing day, which I don't really blame her for. And over the course of the 10-year gap between then and the current events of the game, Yidhari would develop powers that would allow her to see prior events that occurred within a hollow. Though these powers did come with a cost, it was a subconscious ability, so it couldn't be controlled, and they would often dull her emotions while in a hollow, making her seem rather airheaded. This ability would help her as a proxy throughout the years, and it would help her find members of an online forum known as Spook Shack, which would be Yuzuha, Minato, and Lucia, though they wouldn't know it yet. After getting captured by Sarah and trapped in a hollow, Yidhari would be rescued by Lucia, Minato, Banyue, and the protagonist. And after her story quest, they would go into her mind and help her work out her trauma. And after a touching reunion with the ghost of her mother, Yidhari was able to move forward and live in the present with the people that love her now. And I have to say, despite her backstory being common in this game, Yidhari's story does offer a special look at the lesson of looking back and learning from the past, but being able to deal with the trauma and look forward towards the future, which is something I appreciate. Now, you have a glimpse of Yidhari as a character. Let's give you a glimpse as to Yidhari and how she plays. Yidhari is part of a relatively new class known as Rupture. Rupture characters excel at sheer force, which ignores enemy defense and deals massive damage. They often use their skills to change their HP and adrenaline to charge their ultimate. Yidhari is an Ice Rupture character whose damage increases as her health decreases. When playing her, you'll need to remember these key points. Number 1, her core identity, the Health Sacrifice Specialist. Passive. All her ice damage is sheer damage, and it scales with her max HP. She's high risk, high reward. The lower her HP, below 50%, the more damage she deals, up to 100%, and the more decibels she generates. Synergy. Bring a stun or support unit on the team. When her health is below 50%, she'll get a 30% increase to crit damage and a 25% damage reduction. Alright, now for her key gameplay loop. Charge to brawl. Hold down her basic, Frostbite Embrace, to charge her helmet and lower your health. Spend HP to deal damage. The more you charge, the more HP you'll consume, and it stops right around 25%, and this powers up her damage and builds up decibel. Then you'll wait for your opponent to attack you and counterattack, gaining charge instantly, and after around the third attack, you'll start healing yourself. And remember, when she uses her EX specials and her ultimate for massive damage, she'll self-heal based on whatever amount of HP she's missing. And here are the essential abilities to master for her. First, her basic attack, Frostbite Embrace, the core move. Charge, then unleash for massive damage. The third hit heals her for, I forgot the percentage, but I'll probably put it up on the screen. Then your special attack, Surging Cold, the parry. During charge, use it to spin, or when you're spinning, use it and you'll counter the enemy, and a successful counter maximizes her charge instantly. Then her EX specials, Glacial Crush and Frost Coil. These are big damage finishers, used after a successful counter or when you have the adrenaline, and this heals to about 33% of missing HP. Then there's her ultimate, the Final Act. Can only be used within 30 seconds after creating Ether Veil, which is pretty much an AoE move with her tentacle. And speaking of Aether Veil, her fourth is Aether Veil Railspring. You create it by spending 3000 decibels on the final hit of her biggest move, her max charge basic, EX specials, or chain attack. While inside, the whole team gets a max HP boost and Yidhari recharges even faster. Bonus, while inside the veil, her attacks also summon icy tentacles to deal extra damage, so remember that. And lastly, here's some quick gameplay tips for you. Embrace low health. Don't panic. When she's low on health, that's when she does the most damage. Just remember to bring a healer with you. 2. Master the counter. For special attack, Surging Cold is key for survival and maximizing damage. And her gameplay loop includes charging, counter, EX special to heal, build decibels, summon Ether Veil, use her ultimate. Just remember this and you'll do great with the character. For Yidhari's builds, you want to go with W engines in this order of priority. Kraken's Cradle. Yidhari's signature engine is easily her best choice. It has good main stats, ice shear damage, and a crit rate to help in any build. And the last two are conditional, as Yidhari loses health, she gets stronger. But it's not always the case, so keep that in mind. And then we have Will-O-Wisp. Although Yidhari can't benefit from the fire damage, it has a good main stat and even more crit damage than her signature W engine. So, keep that in mind as well. Then we have Qingming Birdcage, which is Yushuan's signature W engine and also a good, option. And while she can't benefit from ether damage, being an S-rank weapon will give her a higher base attack and main stat than any A-rank alternative, so remember that. And while having 20% increase is pretty good, I would say it's a comfortable choice if you have it. And lastly, we have Radio Wave Journey. This is a pretty decent option for her if you don't have, the either two, as previously stated. And since her combos involve double chain attacks, it allows her to max out the buff this item gives. And the effect itself isn't really that significant, but it's still an option. And as for drive disc, there's only really one available drive disc for rupture characters, which is Yunquei Tails. And Yidhari already benefits from the 2-piece HP bonus, and she gets a free EX special hit after every 12 seconds. So remember, and also, it combined with the Woodpecker Electro if she doesn't have crit that you like, or the Branch Blade Song if you don't, if you already have the crit. I remember my last video I forgot to mention this, so for her stats, Drive Disc 4 should be either crit rate or crit damage, Disc 5 should be ice damage, and Disc 6 should be HP. And substats you should prioritize are crit rate or crit damage, HP, and then attack or flat HP in order of priority. And here's a screenshot from Pridwin to show how her endgame stat sheet looks if you want to clear endgame content. Yidhari's playstyle is high risk, high reward due to her health being constantly low. So typically you want a team that has a healer or a powerful support to help keep her standing and a powerful stun to help maximize her damage. These characters include, but are not limited to, Lucia, a fellow member of the Spook Shack and an S tier support. She provides increased HP, increased sheer force, and increased crit damage. Jufufu, a powerful stun agent that works as a powerful off-field stunner, which lets Yidhari stay on the field and deal damage. Pan Yinhu provides healing and buffs to sheer force. Lycon applies ice resistance shred and buff Yidhari's damage through stun. And Astriel, someone who buffs damage and heals with her ultimate. So Team 1 is a team I call Premium Thyran since, you gotta pull from, which would be Yidhari, Lucia, and Jufufu. For rotation, you'll want to start with Jufufu to apply stun, then switch to Lucia to apply buffs to the whole team, and then switch to Yidhari to throw down and deal damage. Team 2 I call Martial Arts and Cooking, which includes Yidhari, Lycon, and Pan Yinhu. Start with Lycon to add stun and ice resistance shred, then switch to Pan Yinhu for healing and buffs, and then unload with Yidhari. Then lastly, a team I found, which was something I didn't expect while trying to do endgame, is a team I called Icy Hot, which is Yidhari, Lighter, and Lucy. Start with Lighter to apply stun and enhance fire/ice attacks, then switch to Lucy to use her EX special to get her attack buffs, and then switch to Yidhari to throw down. And as for this recording of this video, Pridwin has Yidhari at tier 0.5, which is expected since he's, a relatively new character. And this placement assumes a player can manage her high-risk, high-reward playstyle and execute her charge attacks to gain decibels, so remember that. Yidhari is a character who, despite it appeal to a certain demographic, is a strong contender for looks can be deceiving. Her backstory shows that, while common, Hoyo still has ways to tug at our heartstrings. Her gameplay suggests that depth can lie within simplicity, but she's a conditional powerhouse, so remember that. If you're looking to button mash, but I'd say wait for a character that leans into that. When I saw her, I can admit I wasn't feeling her at first, but I decided to take a chance and see what she was about, and I can honestly say I misjudged her. And now, whenever there's a boss that's weak to ice, I look for ways to use her or Miyabi to defeat it. But what do you guys think, Nerd Circuit crew? Are you building the glacial grace of Zenless Zone Zero, or does her gameplay turn you off? Let me know in the comments below, and if this guide helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.